Geographic Information System, GIS in India. Objectives. In this chapter, we will discuss about how the GIS is implemented in India, what are the various programs that are implemented by the government, national GIS programs, how GIS is used in private organizations in India, etc. Introduction. India has long been a leader in using modern spatial technologies and started its trust with satellite images and GIS in the 1980s by having its own Indian remote sensing satellites and image based mapping and creating GIS database and applications. In the early 2000s, it took step forward by designing a national spatial data infrastructure with a large talent pool and many veterans providing the vision, leadership and drive. Now a national movement has taken shape in India's next generation GIS program, that is National GIS Program. Moving away from just looking at the GIS as just a mapping or database tool or as scientific software, India recognized that the true power of the GIS can be realized only when it reaches the hands of the governed, those who can demand efficiency of the governance, development and transparency in the democratic action. The state of Karnataka's GIS program is a successful model for the national GIS. India is a vast country with a population of more than 1.2 billion people spread over 3.29 million square kilometers. The country is composed of more than 6 lakh villages and 7,000 cities and features a varied geography with rapidly changing and complex socio-economic character. As a democracy, India is constantly dealing with ways and means to comprehend social and economic challenges and bring a good quality of life to all its citizens, aiming to bridge the wide disparity in economic and social character. It is in this democratic character that India visualizes national GIS as important to easily map, note changes to and understand the complex interplay of social order and economic growth. India has visualized the GIS is not just essential but is now an urgent necessary, so as to empower its citizens and bring an inclusive economic growth and prosperity to its people. It hopes to reap demographic dividend, expedite development and reduce disparity, thereby bringing more equity among its people. To many, developing a national GIS would seem to be an insurmountable task. How would a single comprehensive system ever be expected to serve the varied and separate needs of so widely contrasting elements? To others who know the challenges of GIS data availability in India, it would sound almost impossible to visualize a seamless national GIS that covers the whole nation. But a blueprint has been developed and there is now a clear agenda that has been set for establishing and making operational national GIS, becoming one key element of a new innovation information foundation that will empower governance, enterprises and citizens across the country. The vision of national GIS for India has now been widely debated, discussed and endorsed in a series of national level meetings involving users, stakeholders, technical experts, policy makers and the government. The National GIS Vision document can be accessed at the moes.gov.in. The National GIS has now been incorporated into the Government of India Planning Commission's 12th 5-year plan 2012-17 as a new initiative for the future. India is at the cusp of another technological and development curve, and in its drive for inclusive growth, social equity and development, a major requirement would be re-engineering many systems and processes. Information will be the fourth pillar of democracy and GIS will be that important element of the fourth pillar, helping in the concept of unified information infrastructures. National GIS is envisaged not just to provide GIS data and GIS application, but serve as a platform for a host of e-services to every citizen, be there in the rural or urban areas, and thereby leading India into inclusive growth and prosperity, expediting development, reducing disparity, and bringing rich demographic dividend, reaching full potential. The vision report states that in spite of wide usage of GIS as a technology, the potential of GIS has not been fully exploited for decision support by planners, stakeholders, decision makers, citizens and others. Some of the initiatives have certainly been successful and have provided the potential of GIS for the project work, but in many places, GIS is yet to achieve a full service orientation and become a core component of the process of governance, planning and national building. Some key challenges that India faces in this regard include: how can the nation ensure that its decision making or governance process is supported by a comprehensive, easy to use GIS decision support system that brings scientific, participatory and quality dimensions into decision, planning and development? How can the nation ensure that GIS ready data is always easily available and maintained, updated by adding that critical capability differentiator over the images and maps that have already been invested in? How can India maintain a high level of national capability in this important technology area and leverage itself to be the forefront of GIS technology in the international arena? India has also recognized that there are some gaps in the widespread adoption of GIS in the country, and these need to be addressed as a part of progress of building national GIS. GIS is a technology centric but needs to be decision centric. This means that all types of decision makers, government enterprises and citizens should have the ability to easily make use of readily available GIS data and application that can help solve their problems. GIS need to become so easy to use and so deeply embedded in the workflow and processes that it becomes integral to modern governance and national building. In addition, there is as yet no widespread availability of GIS ready data for the whole country, but no agency in India has overall responsibility for this activity. These shortcomings have been identified as critical and need to be addressed before GIS can become pervasive at both state and national levels. Key elements of India's national GIS vision includes a national GIS platform with GIS-centric computing and network infrastructure, seamless national-wide national GIS asset at 1:10,000 scale as well as city-level data at larger scales, targeted national GIS application to support government ministries and departments, private enterprises and citizens, and delivered through a national GIS portal, planned GIS dashboards for the use by the Prime Minister's Office, Planning Commission, Cabinet Secretary and key dignitaries, focused GIS capacity building initiatives, pragmatic geographic information policy, positioning and best practices for national GIS. India has recognized that a strong organizational framework is essential for bringing focus and for institutionalization of national GIS and promoting the geospatial technology used by government, enterprises and citizens. To ensure success, it considered having an agency be made responsible for overseeing the vision of national GIS importance. The Indian National GIS Organization, INGO, would have the primary mandate for the establishment, maintenance and operation of national GIS. It would be responsible for guiding and shaping disparate components related to infrastructure, technology and service into cohesive system. In addition, a robust management structure has already been put in place to bring high level focus and alignment across multiple ministries and all states and territories, and to provide a flexible operational mechanism for implementation of national GIS. The Department of Science and Technology (DST) has been assigned the responsibility of implementing the national GIS, and Dr. T. Ramaswamy, Secretary, DST, is driving all the actions for the implementation. A National GIS Advisory Board has been established with Dr. K. Kasturi Rangan as a chair to provide overall policy direction and advise on implementation of the National GIS vision. A high-level National GIS Executive Committee has also been established to facilitate National GIS implementation, ensure INGO establishment and help position across the entire country the concept of e-governance. E-governing is governing that takes place advantage of the convergence of the newest geoinformation and communication technologies such as improved spatial data management, GIS, GPS, remote sensing, satellite and mobile communication and the web. A mission mode implementation of National GIS is being taken up under the DST, and soon a mission director will be positioned to be responsible for implementation of National GIS. A National GI policy. India also recognizes that a strong policy foundation is essential for National GIS and also for furthering a good GIS ecosystem in the country. An independent study on GI policy perspective has been undertaken by the National Institute of Advanced Study located in Bangalore for the Government of India. The study has brought out a comprehensive report that outlines the framework of India's GI policy document. Presently, India has 5 policy tenets. National Map Policy, defining the scope, distribution and access of Survey of India topographic maps. Civil Aviation Requirements, detailing the procedure for issuance of flight clearance for agencies undertaking aerial photograph, geophysical survey, cloud seeding, etc. Third, Remote Sensing Data Policy, defining the process for distributing of satellite imagery. Fourth, Delhi Geographic Spatial Data Infrastructure, Management, Control, Administration, Security and Safety Act, defining the mandatory sharing and accessing and utilization of Delhi geospatial data. Fifth, National Data Sharing and Accessibility Policy, declaring open access to data generated through public funding. The existing policies have been analyzed and the need for an overarching policy regime for GI has been emphasized. To bring rationality in the policy analysis, 7 basic segments were identified that describe a national capability in GI and that need to be factored into a GI policy. Those are image capability, precise positioning capability, advanced surveying capability, mapping capability, GIS capability, GI knowledge capability and GI policy capability. In addition, 4 major cross-cutting GI policy considerations were identified as key factors for policy definition: national security, social relevance, legal issues and creation of industrial capacity. Based on these 7 segments and 4 cross-cutting considerations, the policy analysis identified 62 critical parameters that are constantly assessed from a policy definition point of view. Based on these factors, the case has been built for a comprehensive, overarching and visionary policy. The report has also drafted the tool of National GI Policy that aims for an advanced and impacting national capability in the GI that empowers citizens and governance, and also for positioning India as a global leader in the GI. Towards this aim, it identified 2 important near-term goals. First, to establish national GIS in the next 3 to 5 years. Second, Institute for e-governance models in the Indian society. National GIS can serve multiple needs for government, enterprises and citizens, and must power more open government and thereby leverage economic and social development and reach the grains of the development to the most needy and the right place. National GIS must also aim to bring accountability and responsibility of public activities where the decision making can be centered around GIS, thus factoring location and time domain map information. In India, individual states are the main delivery mechanisms of development and social programs. So, it becomes clear very early in the visioning process for national GIS That success would be depending on acceptance and buy-in at the state level. Various state GIS initiatives have brought good operational examples of the statewide application to the national forefront. Some very good statewide GIS examples that have been established are in the states of Gujarat and Karnataka. Gujarat has developed comprehensive statewide GIS data and has operationalized GIS services to grassroots level in a unique way. Karnataka has multi-layered statewide GIS data and a wide range of GIS application. In other states like Andhra Pradesh, Maharashtra, Rajasthan and Haryana, GIS usage has been good. Many other states also use GIS for specific projects. These state level efforts, in addition to establishing the relevance of GIS for development in a wide spectrum of areas, provide significant insight to successful application, which are closer to citizens' needs and direct governance. In addition to these government agencies, many private sector agencies have also been successful in implementing GIS solution and providing GIS services. GIS is a great relevance for many government activities and enterprises and for citizen services. National GIS has the main aim of trusting the use of GIS application into governance, planning, developmental activities, while India has made some progress in using GIS. A national system of GIS is very important and timely for the nation to adopt. An organizational focus on GIS is important as an agile rescoping organization, Indian National GIS Organization. India's National GIS, a model for the world. The Indian government's vision is to create a new paradigm for governance and development with emphasis on inclusive growth and development, especially to reduce disparity, expedite development and bring demographic dividend that will be unique. The vision of National GIS is to enable a scientific mapping of resources, disparities and needs to meet the aspirations of beneficiaries and society, especially the most disadvantaged, support sustainable and spatial planning, assist quick and reliable monitoring of plan implementation and status of development, enable transparent system for inclusive of society and support real-time mapping of feedback and redress systems. The process of establishing and implementing the state and national vision will also provide considerable opportunities for the private sector to contribute to and be a part of this national endeavor. The national and state GIS will also boost education and research in GIS with specific schools, universities and research programs focused on training the leaders of tomorrow in spatial thinking concept and the core principles of GIS. In today's rapidly changing world, India recognizes that nation that possesses a sound and progressive GIS vision will lead and chart ways not only within their own borders but also across the international arena. India is gearing up to implement national GIS and make it fully operational national GIS infrastructure as a GIS platform and computing and network infrastructure for the national GIS. The national GIS platform would be developed, hosted and based in India. As a part of national GIS infrastructure, it is planned to position national GIS dashboards for key dignitaries such as PM Office, Planning Commission and Cabinet Secretary for high-level reviews, meetings, etc. and promote the GIS usage to key dignitary levels. National GIS Asset has organized geodatabase of the National GIS Asset and maintaining it. The National GIS Asset is proposed to be organized at two levels: seamless nation wide GIS content equivalent to 1:10,000 scale and pockets of geostaged city level larger scale GIS asset wherever and as and when available. National GIS Asset includes 41 plus GIS features and a wide range of 15 plus sectorial geotagged attributes or tabular data from census, demographics, planning and development, infrastructure and other sectoral data sets of ministries and states. It is also proposed to allow crowdsourced geotagged data content into the national GIS as the additional citizen layer, where citizens can populate their dataset grievances, points, etc. GIS implementation by private players in India. Over the period of time, private organizations also implemented GIS for optimizing their business needs in India. GIS has a capability to visualize, manage and analyze any business asset, may it be personal or clientless or facilities. Companies in key business segments like telecom, oil and gas, energy and power generation, infrastructure, automobile, insurance and banking, retail and logistic and warehouse sector are taking advantage of GIS technology. Listing the end user entities will be very long, as it covers from small institution to university to conglomerates like Reliance, SR, etc. There is one feature of GIS which make it more adaptable, that is integration of other enterprises system. Various companies are developing and using integrated GIS solution with their other IT systems like SAP, CRM, customer relationship management, documentation management system, finance and accounting software, various engineering softwares, etc. Several companies have adopted integrated GIS solution for making robust management information system MIS. This type of integration is most seen in companies working in supply chain categories. With latest technology intervention in GIS, this system is becoming more and more versatile. For example, in insurance and banking sector, uses GIS application for tapping the potential customers, ATM planning based on locality, average income, density, etc. Similarly, in telecom company uses GIS not only for network planning and engineering, but also for mapping the potential customers, outlets and service center on similar ground of locality, average income and density. And retail companies or logistic companies are using GIS application for their distribution network, optimization and supply chain. Also, with the advent of the online marketing portals like Flipkart, Snapdeal, Amazon, Myntra or Jabong, GIS solution eases their operational load of customers, suppliers, warehouses and courier or shipment, which all are distributed geographically. Even a private cab services providers like TapCab or Miro Cab, etc. in Mumbai and Delhi uses GIS apps for tracking and managing their cabs. Summary: if we refer to history of GIS in India, GIS technology is widely used over the period of time and substantial knowledge base is created. We are the forerunner in using modern spatial technologies and started its trust with satellite image. In 1990s, we had our own remote sensing satellites and image based mapping and have been creating GIS database and application. In fact, we marched ahead to build national spatial data infrastructure during start of the last decade. Yield of GIS implementation is going to be far paid than as expected. In near future, linkages of Aadhaar to bank accounts, to PAN cards, to credit card records, to land records, to address will create such big canvas filled with tons of information. Government bodies, ministries can easily understand uneven distribution of services, facilities, gap between requirement and supply based on locality, density, income spread and expenditure patterns, etc. May it be planning of the road network annex or healthcare facility or educational institution, a sound base will be available through GIS solution. Management of the urban transport to port transport, land record management or smart city, 100 smart cities as planned by central government, planning or electricity distribution or crop yield patterns or India's national river linking project. GIS is going to simplify the visualization of such vast demography. GIS with its advent e-governance is going to be much more enhanced.